Did the Balance Data Sheet help Death Guard today? Let's find out in this episode of Dice Club. All right, guys, the Balance Data Sheet is in. Did we get helped out? Did us Death Guard players get some help with this Balance Data Sheet? I'm going to tell you this, but first let me just pay some bills, right? So now memberships are live. You can hit that join button wherever it might be on your screen or on the bottom. Hit that join button. I do have a three-tier membership thing. One's $1, one's $5, one's $10. The $5 will get you a customized pull out of a hat every single month. We'll get you a customized billboard for your table. I'll be able to customize as long as it's PG. Put whatever you want on here, your name, your dog, your army, it doesn't even matter what it is. I will play. These will be put up on my bat reps. We'll do about 8 of them a month. You will be featured on this for the whole month. I will then send you this piece of terrain. That's the $5 membership. The $10 membership is, guys, we have merch, hats, t-shirts. I don't have the other one in me, but you can check out the other ones in some other videos. $10 member will get pulled out of a hat. I will give away either merchandise. I will give away starter packs. MCP is coming up on the 13th of October, so I might be able to get my hands on a couple of those. I'll give away. But regardless, that's the membership part of it. Hit that like, subscribe, notification button, become a member. I'd really appreciate any help that you guys give me. Also, I really enjoy the feedback that we have in comments and some of the other things that we have going on. Bills paid. Let's talk about Death Guard, guys. Super pumped about this. How I feel Death Guard. I thought the points drop was big. If you watched my first video, my first Dice Club video, you noticed that I wanted points drops across the board. Now, there are other factions that got the points drops. I get it. Death Guard got them pretty much everywhere, except for maybe 3 units. And they're about 10 points less. Huge winners in some cases. The new Spread the Sickness, in my opinion, is really, really good. I just made Death Guard more durable. They did not address, though, real quick, they did not address the shooting aspect of it. However, they did make them a lot more durable than they were before today, or whenever you watch this video, before the autumn Balance Data Sheet. With the new Spread the Sickness. Let's cover that first, because as you know, the old one was Nurgle's Gift, which is still a thing. We still have Nurgle's Gift, but within contagion range, you had sticky objectives, and Nurgle's Gift on your objective was those were still contagioned, and then you get the -1 toughness. That was the original Spread the Sickness rule. So sticky and still had the contagion on it. Now the new rule basically is you can pick from 3 that are actually pretty good, in my opinion, -1 toughness. I'm sorry, on top of the -1 toughness that you get from Nurgle's Gift. So if you read it, all this said, add on the exact wordings, where if I read it for you, it's add the following to the start of the rule. So it's not replacing the rule, it's adding to the rule. So we still get the -1 toughness from Nurgle's Gift. Now the Spread the Sickness is sticky objectives, but we get to pick which one of these we want. And what we want, one of them is going to be Skull Swarm. All excited here, guys. Skull Swarm, which is Blight, which is -1 from the enemy's ballistic skill and -1 from the enemy's weapon skill, which is good, right? Because someone who is hitting us on a 2 or a 3, or obviously now is going up, and the weapon both it's +1 to hit, or -1 to hit for your enemy. So it's -1 to hit for weapons and ballistic skill. Pretty nice. On top of we're higher toughness, right? That's within 3, 6, 9 inches of our units and of the objective marker. Okay. The other one is Rattle Joint Ague. which is -1 to the enemy save, which is also really nice. And these are all on characteristics. So we're actually just taking their 3-up save, making it a 4-up save because we're changing their characteristics. So it's not really a -1 characteristic. It's just lessening. I'm sorry, -1 save. It's just lessening the characteristics. So we're changing the data sheet essentially. Again, pretty nice. And then we have Scabrous, I can't read it, Soul Rot, which is -1 to leadership characteristic, -1 to the OC characteristic, to a minimum of 1. Okay, so that's still a minimum of 1. So not only do they get -1 toughness, but they're also going to get -1 to hit on the first one, what we saw the Skull Swarm, and -1 basically weapons and ballistic skill, which is pretty nice. It kind of helps because instead of us using Rot Wind all the time, or not Rot Wind, but instead of us using Cloud of Flies or Smokescreen on some of our units, we got Skull Swarm if we pick that. Again, everybody has to be in contagion range. I know this is just basically models getting closer to us, right? But it does make us a little bit more durable. I like the mechanic. Whether or not this change is going to be significant in whether our winning percentage goes up, I don't know, but I do like it. I think it's a pretty nice change. It just gives us something extra. It didn't take anything away. Like I said, it didn't take away Nurgle's gift with the -1 toughness characteristic. It didn't give that away. It just added to it, just made the enemy, basically made the enemy sicker around us, right? So they're breathing in more of the contagions, more of the rot, and it's hurting them and and it's in turn buffing us, right? Points drops, that was the basic change in the spread to sickness rule, which I think was good. I'm My thought is this was in the codex anyway, so they just had to release it because, like we were talking about, in competitive play we're somewhere around 37% or something like that. I don't remember, but that's not to say that everybody wasn't doing that, because there were Death Guard guys that were winning. But as a whole, the whole faction would just needed more, as you saw in the first Dice Club I put in. But let's look at the points. This, in my opinion, was the major buff to Death Guard, right? Everything went down. Everything went down except for like Annihilators. The Plague Surgeon didn't go down. Actually, kind of funny about that because I think the Plague Surgeon does have play, but he didn't go down. And the Malignifier, I don't know if you guys can see if it's in the screen, but the Malignifier did not go down, but that's not seeing much table play anyway. But there were some big changes, big drops, and I'm glad that, and I know GW doesn't pay attention to me, but this was one of my biggest things, is lower the points. I think that does it does make them a little bit more competitive, or put better on the table, because it does give us the extra units. And these extra units, you're going to see a big difference, in my opinion, in how these games are. Now, it's not going to boost us from, 37 or whatever it is, 32 to whatever the winning percentage is, up to S tier, but it does I think it does creep us up to winning more games, right? Huge changes. I think there are 3 changes, maybe 4, that I think were really, really big and really help us play the mission. Is the bloat drone dropping 35 points. So it was at 135, it dropped to 100. That's pretty nice, considering that's a toughness 9 model with 10 wounds. Toughness 9 model with 10 wounds, I believe. But yeah, it's now for 300 points, you can take 3 of them. 10-inch moves across the board. Super. I think, my opinion, I think that was a huge drop, and I think we might see more of those on the tabletop because of that, because they're only now 100 points, which is really nice. The other thing was, what you see me play all the time, is Blade Haulers. Blade Haulers dropped 15 points, so they're also 100 points. Same idea of the drone, move 10, toughness 9, 10 wounds. Same idea, except they shoot a lot better, where drones are more melee. But with Blade Haulers, you can take them in a 3-man unit, which is good. And that now is only 300 points instead of 345 points. So we got about 45 points if that's the way you want to roll with 3 of them. But we got 15 points there. So this was amazing to me because it's my favorite model in the game. You guys heard me talk about it all the time. One of my favorite models in the game. Mortarion. Mortarion went from 370 to 325. I mean, guys, that's pretty good. We just saved 50, right around what's that? 45 points on Mortarion. All right, so I think Mortarion was part of. I think he should have been played a lot in a lot of matchups. I think he's really good, especially with his Lord of the Death Guard aura that was 6 inches. Ignore all modifiers, characteristic modifiers. I think that's awesome, except for saves. And yeah, I think that's really good. Okay, so within contagion range, and that goes out to 9 inches, I believe, or was it 6 inches? I don't remember exactly that. But dropping down to 325, really, really nice. Plague Burst Crawlers going down. I still think they might be a little bit too high. I'd like to see them come down at 150. I'm sorry, to maybe 150, 160 range. But 165, I mean, GW, I'm not going to complain about it because you literally lowered everything else in the game, and I'm happy about it. But 165, so that Death Guard, that Mortarion 3 Plague Burst batteries that we saw a lot that were working in Death Guard was at 895 before the balance data sheet. Now it's at 820, so it drops 70 points. That's significant. When we can get another character in, we can actually get another. If we put the Armored Sorcerer in now with the Terminators, because he dropped to 70 points. A lot of characters dropped down about 10%, so they're down 10%. So yeah, Mortarion. The other thing, the Lord Variance dropping 15 points. He's down to 100. Him being dropping to 100. Typhus being dropped to, I think, what was Typhus? Typhus dropped to 100. Now our Death Guard characters are 100. Our name characters are about 100 points each. Typhus, who actually I've been coming around on Typhus, he's been doing a little bit more work. So you guys were right on Typhus. He just wasn't performing because I was not rolling well, but he's doing well. I've got him in a list now where I protect him a little bit with Death Shroud Terminators, which also dropped. Death Shroud Terminators dropped from where were they at? Death Shroud dropped 15 points on a unit of 3. That's pretty good, right? Let me just make sure I'm telling you guys that the right. No, yeah, in the unit of 3, they dropped 15 points from 140 to 125. Blight Lord Terminators went down 10 points from 175 to 165, which is awesome. So that's great. You're a 10-man unit is now 130 instead of 150. So you're making 20 points up there. There's just a lot of drops that I thought were very, very good. The other thing, which I think was pretty nice, was Plague Marines. Plague Marines going down from 100 to 80, which is also nice. Now you got 5-man Plague Marines that dropped 20 points. I mean, as a whole, we're dropping about 10. That was about a 10% drop, a little over 10% drop, which was really good. So I think that Death Guard came out as winners. I'm not going to go over everybody. I just want to go over Death Guard. So I love what they did with the Contagions. I think that's a really cool mechanic. We'll see how that plays out on the tabletop, but I think it's cool. I like the whole idea. I wanted them to be a little bit more shooty, but I think what GW did is they lean more into the lore aspect and how they think Death Guard should play and just be really tough and really affect the opponent more so than buffing them up as being the super offensive output a super output game or army, firing army. So, and I'm sure I've gotten some great suggestions, guys, from you guys in the comments about what to run to give me a little bit more shooting, and I'm trying to work those into bat reps as I go. I really appreciate that because it's really helpful. And you guys kept me on Typhus. Well, I was about to shelf him because he wasn't doing well for me. but you kept me on them, and putting them around Death Shroud Terminators, -1 to hit, -1 to wound on weapons that can actually kill things, that can actually hurt my Terminators is pretty nice with Typhus leading it. That was a good suggestion. I can't remember who did it, but thank you. That was really good suggestion. Yeah, guys, I'm pretty pumped up. I wanted to get this knee-jerk reaction video out, just so I just special report, just so we can kind of just get it out there, talk about it. Leave the comments below. Tell me what units you're running and how you're running them, and tell me if the points changes helped your units or what your list that you got going on. Also, let me know what you think of the contagions. I think the spread the sickness is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice mechanic. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. The actually real quick before we turn is the devastating wound. The devastating wound change was actually something that does help us out a lot, because that was how they're getting through our armor. That's how they're getting through our toughness of our armor. Which, if you have a anti-infantry 4 and it's devastating, now when you're doing, and you've seen me in bat reps with Eric when I'm playing World Eaters. Now, if you do 4 mortal wounds or 5 mortal wounds or 6 mortal wounds from one guy, it's only taking out 1 Terminator. It's not taking out 2 or 3 of them, which is super nice. So that was another big change to Death Guard. That another thing that was hurting us was mortal wounds hurting us. Now, I know that affects the whole game, but it does help. It makes us more durable. Our Terminators more durable than they were before, and I think that was a good change. But guys, let me know what you think about it. I want to hear from you guys, man. I want to hear what you guys think. I'm super pumped. I think it was a good change. I'm not saying it's going to put us up to S tier, but I am saying that it's going to help us win more games, at least stay in more games, so we don't feel like we're only playing the first 2 rounds. Really excited about it. I think GW, as of now, just on paper, I think GW did a good job with it. I think they hit exactly when we needed to be hit. We'll see what happens in the games coming up. I do a bat rep coming up. Believe Dark Angels. I do have a bat rep coming up for Dark Angels. Nico's going to be here joining me. I believe that's set up. We'll see. Nico is going to come on the show. He's going to talk about Dark Angels. We're going to talk a little bit about the Lion. That may or may not be the next episode. I'm not sure. But guys, leave your comments below. Let me know what's going on. Hit that join button. Hit that notification button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's help grow this community. Guys, I appreciate everybody who's done so already. And with all that being said, God bless. Peace out.